Hi, Sylvia. How are you?
Good afternoon. Had to
Yeah,
look at the clock, see what time it was.
I know it's Groundhog Day. Every day is the same.
It is. Oh my gosh.
I gotta kind of fool around here and get ready. So
No problem. I have learned in the last couple of years with so much of my work being done online that if I have a minute to go ahead and sign into the meeting that's coming up,
yeah,
then I'm good. Because if I try to do just one more thing,
yeah,
then all of a sudden I'm 10 minutes late.
yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
And I'm notorious for that. So I've now learned, just when you think about it, go ahead and sign in and sit there.
That's right. Well, plus sometimes, like lots of times, we chat and different people come on early and we can get stuff done, just informally while everyone's waiting.
Friends
So it
would
works
walk up
out.
to me and just be like,
So, that's a good thing.
Take advantage of everything we can.
Exactly. Tell me about your business. What do you do?
So I'm actually in Georgia.
Oh, that's right. You're my Georgia person.
Yeah,
Only
I'm the
one?
Georgia person. So at some point, I want to talk to you about what I need to, step back from versus dive in on.
Yeah.
First, like the Celebrate Rural Day. I wasn't sure how that would work for me to be a part of. I
You
don't
can
have.
be part of it. You're in if you want to do it. No
Okay.
problem.
Um,
You're in the class. You're in the class. Plain and simple.
I am about 3 miles south of North Carolina.
Yeah, that's what I gathered when I saw your address, and
Yep.
we'll consider you uh, a suburb of North Carolina.
Perfect. That's perfect. Anyway, so a couple of years ago, right before dear sweet COVID hit, I bought a property here that used to be a Christian children's camp.
Huh.
And so it's 33 acres and it's got 5 cabins. It's got a big conference center meeting hall space and a dining hall and some different meeting rooms and stuff.
Wow.
And I've got about a half a mile of a really nice, robust creek.
Cool.
And so I'm renovating it. My when I set out to buy the property, what I really was looking for was a farm.
Okay.
I kept seeing this one pop up, going, no, that's not really what I'm looking for. And then when I finally gave up and came to visit it, because it kept coming up top of my list on my searches. I finally gave up and came to visit it. And I thought, I can work with this,
Yeah.
because what I wanted to do was build a farm and then add cabins that people could come to for either to do co-work on the farm or for like retreats or artist retreats, that type thing. But I wanted to buy the farm first.
Yeah, that
And then
makes a lot of sense.
finally, I realized, wait, this has all the infrastructure, all that investment in, water and sewage and electricity and all this other stuff and buildings. And I can add the farm to the facility instead.
Makes sense.
So that's what I'm working on. But first, just to, have something revenue generating, I started on rehabilitating or remodeling the facility because it's 20 years old and it was built as very kid rustic to begin with.
Yeah.
So, so we're not quite through with that. We've got 3 cabins completely done. The dining hall part is completely done. So we have 2 more cabins to do, but I'm going to stop once I finish the 3rd cabin, which will hopefully be into this month. Once we finish the 3rd cabin, then we're going to turn our attention more to the farming aspect of it for a while and come back and do the last 2.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
So we've added chickens so far. We're adding goats this winter, and we're and I came from Texas, southern Texas, where it was flat is an understatement. So I'm learning a lot about the horticulture of the area and about handling hills and mountains.
Oh, wow.
And so, my first goal when I got here was to plant an orchard, and I had all these different trees planted and picked out and, all my research on how far apart and, this thing, but I didn't understand the concept of terracing. And so now I'm taking a step back and we're working on terracing because everything's too steep.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, that's really quite a story. And how long have you owned it? A year?
Just almost 2.
2 years. Wow.
Almost 2.
Cool. How did you find out about our class?
I've signed up. I really like the Clay County, the communications that Clay County does with their ag group.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm on a couple of different email lists with Clay County
I got you.
to keep informed of what's going on there. And it was on one of their posts. And then I dug a little deeper and I thought, oh, this would really, really help. And so
That's cool.
I signed up for it and you actually took me. So that was great.
Yeah. Well, we're not, we're all in the same boat, more or less. I live on my wife's family farm. We don't
Nice.
do anything but lease it out to a guy who grows hay. But it had been a cattle farm for a long time, hundreds of years, actually.
Very.
So it's, it's interesting. I'm a city guy. I'm not really a farmer dude, but, I like it. I like the horses know I feed them. That's about it. And, cut a lot of grass. So that's my contribution to the farm life, I guess. But,
Well, I grew up in pretty much a farming environment. We only grew stuff for our own consumption. We didn't grow it to sell or anything like that. But we lived off the land almost exclusively when I was growing up, and that was in Florida. And then after I finished high school, went to college, I wound up in Houston.
Oh, wow.
And have lived in Houston for years in a totally urban environment. But I still managed to have gardens and fruit trees and stuff like that on my little half acre there.
Okay.
But it's a big adjustment here because I've always lived in a much warmer climate. So I'm having to relearn a lot.
Yeah. Well, we live in Eastern North Carolina. It's flat as a pancake. And
Okay.
so, and I spent most of my years living in the Shenandoah Valley and mountains of Western Virginia. So it's an adjustment also. But one thing I've noticed that I like is there's more light here. When you have mountains, things get blocked by the mountains at a certain time of the day, or so it's actually lighter here. At least that's my imagination. When I lived in the mountains. Oh, hey, Jeff Stone, how are you? Okay.
Doing fine.
Oh,
Doing fine.
great. Hey, Susan, how are you?
Hey, doing good.
All
I
right.
made it on time. Yay.
I'm
It's easier to get there when you Zoom.
I'm impressed.
Hey,
Tell me who iPhone is again. Who am I, iPhone?
Hi, Dennis. It's Eva on iPhone, and I'm going to stay on mute.
Okay. All right. Just needed a reminder of who iPhone was. You never know. Could be some evil spy for all we know. Not that I'm hiding anything. I just have to put away
It's Halloween month, so it's okay. It's just
I'm
me.
wearing can you tell I've got my Halloween mask?
You look great. What are you talking
Thank
about?
you. Thank you. So anyway, welcome. We'll let folks get in here. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and we'll probably go till about 1:45 today, just so you know. So we're not gonna lose too much time here if we wait just a couple minutes. I find that busy entrepreneurs are generally a few minutes late. I know I am. So, all right. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started, I guess. Well, let's see. I'm going faster than my clock, so let's just give another minute and see if we get anyone else, and then we'll get started. So, hi Arjun, how are you today? Sana, how are you? Damaris?
Good, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
hey, how are you? How's it going?
Good.
How's everyone doing?
Good, Damaris. Thanks. Sana's
How
going
do
to
you
be
know?
Donna's going to be a
Oh,
star at the NC State Fair this week. She's going to be doing a cooking demonstration.
I don't know if I'll be the star. Hopefully, Ed Kits are the stars there. But yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's cool. I think David Mayo from ECU said he's going to be there. He's going to come up and say hello. So if a guy that kind of looks like a young Ilya Kuryakin comes up to you, that's him.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I'll look for him.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Today we're going to talk about why are you doing what you're doing. Please be sure to mute everybody because I'm hearing some stuff. Let's see here. There we go. Sorry about that. We're a little bit shorthanded today, so I'm trying to do the various things. So first of all, thank you all for coming. I'm sorry it's taking me so long to get this class going, but we'll make up for time pretty quickly. One of the things you'll find as you get involved with what we're doing is there's going to be certain things, I'm going to call them themes, that will emerge as you go through this process. And you're going to be hearing certain things from all different sources. And the one constant that you'll hear is how important is your why? Why are you doing this? What is the reason that you're doing your business or anything else in life? Why are you doing it? And I've been really struck by the fact that whenever we have a guest speaker, and particularly the ones that are very accomplished in business, they always start with this. So finally, after going through this process, I finally realized, well, maybe we should start with why also. So that's what we do now. So we're going to hear from a guy by the name of Simon Sinek. If you aren't familiar with him, it's S-I-N-E-K, Simon. Simon is a speaker who appeared, if you know anything about TED Talks, there's the TED Talks, which are kind of big time and famous, a lot of people know about. And then there's also what are called TEDx Talks. And TEDx Talks are locally organized events that, let's see here, sorry about that. Okay, we've got some folks coming in and Grant's not here today, so I'm doing that. So I apologize if I stumble around a little bit. Anyway, Simon appeared on a TEDx, which is a locally organized TEDx. We have them around here. We have them in Raleigh and so forth. And he showed up at something called TEDx Puget Sound, which is a small group. And believe it or not, this video, which we're going to watch in a minute, is the most watched video in TED history. Even though he started at a spin-off event, it became so big, he's now a global phenomenon in many ways. He's an English guy, and he is going to talk about how great leaders inspire action. And a lot of it is driven by why are you doing this? What is the reason that you're doing this? So let's see here. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna attempt to share my screen and see how that goes. All right. Okay. Hopefully you all can see my screen okay. Can somebody confirm that you can see it? Thanks.
Yeah.
So where do you start when you have a program that's about integrating life's passions? Well, you start with why. Why? And that kicks us off for the first speaker tonight, Simon Sinek, in his talk, Start with Why.
We assume even we know why we do what we do. But then how do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it? There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one?
And I work my way down. It's like,
and that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. And that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do. We say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat screen TVs. They've been making flat screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology. not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into 3 major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle 2 sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. The goal is not just to hire people who need a job. It's to hire people who believe what you believe. I always say that, you know, there's if you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And nowhere else is there a better example of this than with the Wright brothers. Most people don't know about Samuel Pierpont Langley. And back in the early 20th century, the pursuit of powered man flight was like the dot-com of the day. Everybody was trying it. And Samuel Pierpont Langley had what we assume to be the recipe for success. I mean, even now, you ask people, why did your product or why did your company fail? And people always give you the same permutation of the same 3 things. Undercapitalized, the wrong people, bad market conditions. It's always the same 3 things. So let's explore that. Samuel Pierpont Langley was given $50,000 by the War Department to figure out this flying machine. Money was no problem. He held a seat at Harvard and worked at the Smithsonian and was extremely well connected. He knew all the big minds of the day. He hired the best minds money could find, and the market conditions were fantastic. The New York Times followed him around everywhere, and everyone was rooting for Langley. And how come we've never heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley? A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright. They had none of what we consider to be the recipe for success. They had no money. They paid for their dream with the proceeds from their bicycle shop. Not a single person on the Wright brothers' team had a college education, not even Orville or Wilbur. And the New York Times followed them around nowhere. The difference was Orville and Wilbur were driven by a cause, by a purpose, by a belief. They believed that if they could figure out this flying machine, it'll change the course of the world. Samuel Pierpont Langley was different. He wanted to be rich and he wanted to be famous. He was in pursuit of the result. He was in pursuit of the riches. And lo and behold, look what happened. The people who believed in the Wright brothers' dream worked with them with blood and sweat and tears. The others just worked for the paycheck. And they tell stories of how every time the Wright brothers went out, they would have to take 5 sets of parts because that's how many times they would crash before they came in for supper. And eventually, on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers took flight. And no one was there to even experience it. We found out about it a few days later. And further proof that Langley was motivated by the wrong thing, the day the Wright brothers took flight, he quit. He could have said, that's an amazing discovery, guys. Now we'll improve upon your technology. But he didn't. He wasn't first. He didn't get rich. He didn't get famous. So he quit. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you talk about what you believe, you will attract those who believe what you believe. Well, why is it important to attract those who believe what you believe? Something called the law of diffusion of innovation. And if you don't know the law, you definitely know the terminology. The first 2.5% of our population are our innovators. The next 13.5% of our population are our early adopters. The next 34% are your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. The only reason these people buy touch-tone phones is because you can't buy rotary phones anymore. We all sit at various places at various times on the scale, but what the law of diffusion of innovation tells us is that if you want mass market success or mass market acceptance of an idea, you cannot have it until you achieve this tipping point between 15 and 18% market penetration, and then the system tips. And I love asking businesses, what's your conversion on new business? And they love to tell you, oh, it's about 10% proudly. Well, you can trip over 10% of the customers. We all have about 10% who just get it. That's how we describe them, right? That's like that gut feeling, oh, they just get it. The problem is, how do you find the ones that just get it before you're doing business with them versus the ones who don't get it? So it's this here, this little gap, that you have to close, as Geoffrey Moore calls it, crossing the chasm. Because you see, the early majority will not try something until someone else has tried it first. And these guys, the innovators and the early adopters, they're comfortable making those gut decisions. They're more comfortable making those intuitive decisions that are driven by what they believe about the world and not just what product is available. These are the people who stood online for 6 hours to buy an iPhone when they first came out, when you could have just walked into the store the next week and bought one off the shelf. These are the people who spent $40,000 on flat-screen TVs when they first came out, even though the technology was substandard. And by the way, they didn't do it because the technology was so great. They did it for themselves. It's because they wanted to be first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. In fact, people will do the things that prove what they believe. The reason that person bought the iPhone in the first 6 hours, or stood in line for 6 hours, was because of what they believed about the world and how they wanted everybody to see them. They were first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So let me give you a famous example, a famous failure and a famous success of the law of diffusion of innovation. First, the famous failure. It's a commercial example. As we said before a second ago, the recipe for success is money and the right people and the right marketing conditions, right? You should have success then. Look at TiVo. From the time TiVo came out about 8 or 9 years ago to this current day, they are the single highest quality product on the market. Hands down, there is no dispute. They were extremely well funded. Market conditions were fantastic. I mean, we use TiVo as a verb. I TiVo stuff on my piece of junk Time Warner DVR all the time. But TiVo is a commercial failure. They've never made money. And when they went IPO, their stock was at about $30 or $40 and then plummeted, and it's never traded above 10. In fact, I don't think it's even traded above 6, except for a couple of little spikes. Because you see, when TiVo launched their product, they told us all what they had. They said, we have a product that pauses live TV, skips commercials, rewinds live TV, and memorizes your viewing habits without you even asking. And the cynical majority said, we don't believe you, we don't need it, we don't like it, you're scaring us. What if they had said, if you're the kind of person who likes to have total control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. It pauses live TV, skips commercials, memorizes your viewing habits, etc., etc. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, and what you do simply serves as the proof of what you believe. Now let me give you a successful example of the law of diffusion of innovation. In the summer of 1963, 250,000 people showed up on the Mall in Washington to hear Dr. King speak. They sent out no invitations, and there was no website to check the date. How do you do that? Well, Dr. King wasn't the only man in America who was a great orator. He wasn't the only man in America who suffered in a pre-civil rights America. In fact, some of his ideas were bad, but he had a gift. He didn't go around telling people what needed to change in America. He went around and told people what he believed. I believe, I believe, I believe, he told people. And people who believed what he believed took his cause and they made it their own, and they told people. And some of those people created structures to get the word out to even more people. And lo and behold, 250,000 people showed up on the right day, on the right time to hear him speak. How many of them showed up for him? 0. They showed up for themselves. It's what they believed about America that got them to travel on a bus for 8 hours to stand in the sun in Washington in the middle of August. It's what they believed. And it wasn't about black versus white. 25% of the audience was white. Dr. King believed that there are 2 types of laws in this world, those that are made by a higher authority and those that are made by man. And not until all the laws that are made by man are consistent with the laws that are made by the higher authority will we live in a just world. It just so happens that the civil rights movement was the perfect thing to help him bring his cause to life. We followed not for him, but for ourselves. And by the way, he gave the I have a dream speech, not the I have a plan speech. Listen to politicians now with their comprehensive 12-point plans. They're not inspiring anybody. Because there are leaders and there are those who lead. Leaders hold a position of power or authority, but those who lead inspire us. Whether they're individuals or organizations, we follow those who lead, not because we have to, but because we want to. We follow those who lead, not for them, but for ourselves. And it's those who start with why that have the ability to inspire those around them or find others who inspire them. Thank you very much.
Okay. Love to hear any reaction that people might have to what you just saw. What do you think, Allison?
I jumped in on the last of it. I've been in a meeting, but I hadn't thought of it from that perspective. But yeah, leaders do inspire. That's the truth. That's why we follow them. They inspire us to be better in whatever form we want to be.
And I think also we follow leaders who believe like we believe, right? It's what we think, or in our heart, we get it. So we're not going to follow a leader who doesn't, match our beliefs. And I think that's the point that Simon Sinek was making, that you follow a leader for your own reasons, not for the reasons of the leader. I think that's an important.
Yeah. Can I,
Go ahead.
I think it was a great perspective as well, because I've always heard the term where people don't buy the features, they buy the benefit. But it was also, he just took it a step further. So they buy the whole why and the belief behind it. So it even had me step back and thinking, like, as we're marketing, advertising, how do we tie back the why in that message? So when people buy from us or come eat with us, they're eating our belief rather, or like the whole, like we're a family-owned organization. So how do we tie that back to like make that synonymous with family or like stuff like that? So I just kind of had me sitting back, kind of thinking like, how do we recraft some of the marketing and messages and stuff like that, so people want to like feel like they're eating with their family or eating with us as a family, so like that. So
Damaris, I didn't even pay you to say all that, but it's exactly right. With all of this, that's very, very, very good. Christina.
I agree. I thought the whole talk was very inspiring, and it opened up my eyes into how we can sell some of our farm good products. Not like how we can sell it, but like, why do we, like, it makes me think of like, why did we want to get into this? Why did we want to start this business? Why did we become first generation farmers? Like the why, and like use our why to power everything else we do, and kind of not restructure our mission statement or vision, but sort of restructure just the very basis of our mission and vision, to include the why, because I think that will help us that will help us build product, and it'll help us, like Jamera said, in marketing and all of that. So it was really inspiring.
Fantastic. Well, it'll help you find people who get what you're doing and they believe
Yeah.
it. And you know, you want to develop that group, whoever they are. And however, there's lots of different ways to do it, but that's real good. April Kelly. I'm just wandering around calling on people.
I definitely enjoyed that. And I think one of my biggest takeaways was when he said Dr. Martin Luther King didn't say he had a plan. He said he had a dream. And that'll stick with me. I'll remember that. But it takes me back too, because even in the formulation of our business, we're in the phase where we're still creating this thing, right? This business, this product, all of those things. And I've been hearing so often, you know, you need to have a plan, you know, where's your lean canvas? Do you have your business plan? And all of those things, they play their part and they are important, but the product isn't going to sell and the business isn't going to be successful on the plan alone. It is going to be successful if we can drive that why, if we find our people who believe like we believe. And we're doing, you know, the infant formula, and I get the best reactions and responses when I share my story and why I even created this product. Absolutely. And why I feel like it's necessary and that it's needed is when I share my personal experience, my personal story, and it kind of gives it that human factor, right? That it's a human behind this. It's not just the product, it's not just the brand, but I'm a real person who had a real problem, who is trying to find a real solution, right?
Yeah. And I think it's not only is there a person behind it, there is a believer behind it. There is a person,
right?
And why does she believe it is a great story? And that's also why video is so powerful. You know, why I really like the live streaming and all that is because you actually get to tell your story and you get to find, and at a greater level, greater acuity, find your tribe, your group that believes what you believe. Arjun, I'm going to call on you.
Yeah, so this is so when I was building his down, like I actually started with why, because you know I picked up a computer science degree because like I had this vision I wanted to create. So what I was thinking about this is that I very much agree with the premise that people who believe in the idea more so than want the physical manifestation of that idea are the ones who'll stick with you over the long haul. And out of all kind of the clients we started talking to versus the ones who kind of follow through, like that's what we've seen. The ones who are really sold the idea are the ones who stayed with us. What I'm wondering is how you can identify populations that have a higher proportion of people who share that why, people who have that belief. How does one, you know, if you start trying to just talk people down the street, you'll probably have a very low hit rate. So the question is like, how do you kind of identify the populations which you want to target with your marketing efforts so that you can then get that throughput into people who are going to stick with you for the long haul?
Funny you should ask. You're again playing right into my hands. Thank you very much. We are going to help you with that. I'm going to ask Sana to speak up here.
Yeah, so I had heard of this speech before. That talk. I think it came out a while ago. It's been many years, right? But
2009.
Right? But now that I have my own product, I think I heard it differently. It just made so much more sense to me this time. And I have all the components that he was talking about, like the whys and the hows and whats. I guess I was thinking in my head, how do I need to rearrange that to make my messaging sound even better? Well, one more thing that I was kind of thinking of was that since this has been out there for so long, organizations have picked up on this. So that's why for the past few years, you see so much more of the, hey, talk about your story and, you know, more of the personal side. My background is in marketing. I was working for ABB in their global marketing. And this is like industrial customers. I was with their renewable energy division, so it's not like, you know, direct to consumer, it was B2B. But they kept on pushing that, you know, for the marketing department, they kept on pushing that you guys need to stay away from features and you need to talk about value proposition, like what is it that we're offering to our customers. But now listening to this again, I just feel like they never really picked up on the why. They kind of moved down from the what to the how, but they weren't really thinking the why.
Yes.
So, you know, this is great. Thank you so much for sharing that today.
Oh, thanks for telling your story as well.
Can I ask
Anyone else want to jump in? Go ahead, Arjun. It's fine.
I wanted to ask, like, so the people who are telling you to focus on value proposition, these are like professors in like a marketing class? Like, where's that kind of?
That's I mean, I'm talking about from my previous job. This is the director of the company, you know, the boss that I used to report to, he's telling me to design the marketing message. You know, like things that we would communicate to our business customers, or things that would show up in the brochure, messaging on the website. And that's where they're saying, you know, don't focus on the features and the technical aspects of your product. Talk about the value that you're offering. But I just don't know at that time whether they even knew what they should have been targeting.
Yeah. Well, why they were doing it, right? They weren't even sure why they were doing it.
I think this is Sylvia. Sorry. I think the difficulty, Sana, when they give you an assignment like that, is that the why for me may be different than the why it is for Arjun or for Dennis. And so there are multiple stories out there that you're going to be able to relate to that are going to be very different stories. And so for all of us, I think that, you know, when we start looking for that audience, we might identify one audience, and from that, we might begin to identify secondary and tertiary audiences that we can expand into that would understand our story and appreciate it. And we may have to target our marketing to those audiences differently so that we can direct the appeal to them appropriately.
Or they will find you, right? I think there's
That's
a very real chance that if your channels are set up right, that people will find you. People who believe what you believe and are following the same kind of mentality, if you will. I think they'll find you. It's not all on you. Some of it can be, that's what you call organic reach or organic growth. It's a thing. It really does exist. I'm going to call on one of a person who I think has a strong belief system, and that's Susan from Quilt Lizzie. Susan, what do you have to say about all this? Hello. There's Susan. Are you there? Hey, Susan. I guess Susan's Susan we'll get her another time. Well, you all did a really good job of kind of laying the predicate. I think you see what I'm talking about here, and starting with this class, with this approach, and it is gonna, go ahead. Somebody, is that Susan? Sorry, somebody broke in there for a second and then they were gone.
Can you?
I can't hear whoever that is. Sorry. So anyway, we're going to start tomorrow. We're going to start down this path of identifying this, and that is going to be about branding, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to.
Can you get me now?
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah.
I'm sorry. I am in rural America today. I'm in a town of 848 people, and I have to tell you, I was blown away what I could get because my internet was lagging. Instinctive is the word that comes to mind. I don't know how much you, Dennis, know about me, but let me see if I can make this the whole group again. Hold on. Gosh, I'm so spastic with this Zoom stuff. I'm a pianist. I actually studied piano for years and years. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we'll hear you fine.
And so a lot of what I do came from, I never understood what the why was. In watching him diagram that, I'm thinking back to my 10 years in business, because for those of you that don't know me, I took my hobby and turned it into my business in a big way. I used to run a law practice. My background is accounting. I did trust accounting, but music was my core who I am. So for me, working on instinct was always a natural way, and can just conveying how I feel about things, and trying to connect with people based upon the passion of sewing and related. So instinctive was the word that I came away with, because I never really understood about the limbic brain.
Yeah.
We're taught in the sewing machine industry to understand the benefits and the features, because you have to share those with people, but you are never going to talk. This is what I would say to y'all. You are never going to talk anybody into buying anything. You are going to listen them into buying, is what I've learned.
Yeah.
And by listening to them, your instincts will help you find a way to connect with them. And what I'm trying to learn now is how to do that in this. I'm almost 64, so it's a real different world not to be shaking hands and walking up to people and connecting, you know, and just hearing their voice and the timbre of their voice. But my business now is trying to connect virtually, and I hope that we can do that, because sewing is a very tactile, hands-on thing. I was listening to did I understand that one of the gals here is working with a nursing mother's product, or some sort of yeah, and it's very, very important. And I mean, all these things that we need, the why, I was just blown away. It kept zooming down on me and I couldn't hear what he had to say. But for me, it's always,
you can look that up on YouTube. That I didn't get it anywhere special. It's on YouTube, and it's
what's his name?
It's What Is Your Why? It's from 2009, so you'll know you get the right one. It's all over YouTube and all over.
Yeah, Dennis, this is Eva, and
Hey, Eva.
Thanks for resharing that. And I would say I saw it maybe 3 years back in an MBA program at NC State, and it was an old video at that time, but it was still relevant to hear it reshared today, and to really try to think about. It's my corporate job. I'm a professional market manager, and we always try to think about how we're connecting with people. But to me, this why is instead of a B2B business, which I'm in day to day, or a B2C, B2C, it's more people to people. So once you figure out how that you can relate to people, it doesn't really matter what the product is. It really is the story. And do they see it through the same filter? Have you connected to them personally? How do you grow that trust and relationship? And that crosses kind of any product line that you want to sell. And just want to say hi to Cool Lizzie, Susan, and I know that you're in Warrenton today. So thanks.
We're getting invaded by Warrenton. Back off, Warrenton. What the hell? You know, God. No, I'm just kidding. Well, this is good. You all are thinking the right way, feeling the right way might be a better way to put it. But we're going to be spending a lot of time on this. I'm really promoting and pushing this Shop Rural Day, which is a live streaming video. I hope all of you will consider participating. I think we're going to have a pretty big audience for that. You can practice. You can. Somebody dropped the link in the group chat for the Simon Sinek if you're looking for it, but it's also on YouTube. But anyway, what I'm hoping to do prior to that event, for those of you who participate, is you'll be very powerful in those videos, in that live streaming, because you will actually have a chance to reach thousands of people with your message and your feelings and your purpose and why you're doing what you're doing. And I think it could be a jumpstart for many of you who are trying to figure out, how can I reach some sort of critical mass of people who get it. And we're going to work really hard to help you do that. So make sure you check out the Shop Rural Day thing. Several people in the class have signed up and are practicing, and et cetera, et cetera. So I encourage everybody, even if you don't know what it's about, sign up, practice. It doesn't cost you anything. You'll learn a lot, even from that process, I believe. So I encourage that a great deal. So tomorrow, we're going to start a section on branding. I believe it's three sections. This is provided by Techstars. It's considered the leading branding training in the country. I believe it is. I will warn you that the guy who does the teaching is the world's fastest talker. It's just unbelievable. So I'll try to remember to put the transcript thing on. Of course, we'll have the recording. You can play it back. Guy's a genius. It's unbelievable stuff, but I just warn everybody, do not pause or you will miss it. He's really a fast talker. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow and Thursday. I think you'll like it. I think you'll get a lot out of it. Any questions from anybody as we kind of pull this to a close for today?
Dennis, this is Allison. I got a question. I had to sign
I'm sorry, I lost you, Allison. One more time.
Shop Rural, and you were talking about practicing. How do we go about getting the information to
Alex? Did Alex
quote,
reach out to you? If you signed up, you should get an email from Alex at Pop Shop Live, and he is our program manager, and he knows everything.
Okay. No, I don't think I have, but I'll check my emails.
Yeah, he's the guy. He does the practices. He literally, his job is he's dedicated to our group specifically. And he's really good, really sharp, and really knows this stuff. So if you have a hard time connecting with him, let me know, and I'll post him in our Facebook page. Also encourage all of you to join the Facebook group if you haven't already, so I can get stuff to you there as well. It's a private group, secret group, whatever. No one knows who's in it and all that kind of stuff, but it's intended to be a place where we can share stuff and you can share stuff with each other as well.
What's it called?
I think it's called Accelerate Rural Community is the name of it. And I think you just go and ask to join, and I think Grant and I get some kind of ping and we let you in. Accelerate Rural Community.
I to make it tomorrow. How soon after the sessions do you post the videos?
Actually, we stream live to YouTube, so they're available immediately.
Oh, great, awesome.
Now, this one wasn't trying to, this is terrible. This was not streamed to YouTube. And the reason is the first time I streamed Simon Sinek to YouTube said I was stealing his material, even though it's on YouTube, it's free. So I got in trouble with YouTube. So I don't stream Simon, but I stream everything else. So no stream today. You have to find Simon yourself on YouTube because I don't want to get kicked off YouTube. But all the rest of them, we generally stream simultaneously, and that records it onto YouTube automatically. I don't know how well organized it is. I keep asking Grant to make sure it's organized. I assume it is, but I haven't really checked it. Okay. Is that it? Anyone else got anything? Oh, okay. Well, great. Well, see everyone tomorrow. Don't hesitate to reach out to me individually if you have stuff you want to talk about. I'm available. Usually pretty good by email to respond or on the Facebook group. I'm very thankful you all are part of this class, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be cool. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Take care. Thank you.